Let's go! The quiet period is over. Clover Health has ended this quiet period for this public offering of Class A common stock that we've been going through for a very long time. It feels like forever when you have this a little bit of uncertainty mixed in, like why do they need the money and everything like that, especially when you take a look at all the things that have been bullish this last year overall, right? They redeemed the warrants. I thought that was long-term bullish right there. We had the financials. They have 588 million in cash and cash equivalents. So why are they doing this? Well, hey, today we finally have that answer. We finally have an answer. They did an AMA about this as well. And so we're going to dive into that because I know how important that is and how that really affects everyone's kind of like breathing, and you just got to take that breath and be like, we're out of that. Hopefully we will see more green days just like today coming up very soon for this stock that I have such a high conviction in, and I believe especially in that long run, especially in the long run, but I think even in the short run we may see some good things as well. So here we are. We have Clover Health's follow-on offering AMA, okay? And so what this says is that, hello, everyone. We appreciate your patience on hearing from us during the quiet period connected to our follow-on offering, which was due to the fact that our underwriters had 30 days to purchase additional shares. That was that option. We are more than excited than ever in our long-term vision for Clover with the goal of generating long-term value for shareholders and incredibly positive and massive impact within healthcare. Before we get into the specific questions that have been asked of us since the launch of the offering, we wanted to provide a general summary of the outcome. We raised $300 million in growth proceeds through the offering of our Class A common stock. We are a technology company that is rapidly growing and plan to use the proceeds for working capital and general corporate purposes, which includes our continued growth efforts and to have further cushion in the event of a pandemic, that the pandemic has a larger impact than we currently expect, especially with the new variant, coming into play as well. That's been implied there. So over 40 funds invested in our transaction, and we are very pleased with the quality of the investors who bought shares and the fact that several of our existing investors decided to take part and increase their holdings. That includes Chamath Palihapitiya and that tweet and announcement that was made recently on that as well. This deal raised our awareness with additional institutional investors. We met with about 30 investors, and our banks spoke with about 150 in total. We expect to gain 3 additional research analysts, Deutsche Banks, SVB Leerink, and Canaccord early next year. We are very excited entering 2022. We expect another year of strong growth, and we are progressing on making the Clover Assistant even more powerful and extending its capabilities further while leveraging our platform to drive impressive operating synergies over time. Thank you for being on this journey with us, Vivek and Andrew. So great to hear that at the very beginning, just that little letter note to everyone. And of course, we got these AMA about this offering. Some people, I don't know why they did this clarification, but sure. Why did Clove do 2 offerings at the same time? I mean, I think I covered that in this little like graph or whatever that I made about this. They initially had, offered a 40.25, then they updated to 52.17, about 14% there for that. And so currently there's 472.8 million outstanding shares. So they were saying that basically, only one offering was done for this, okay? And so after becoming a public company, of course, right? And so so this is in general, why did this happen, right? So it's typical for high growth companies to raise capital in multiple rounds over time. At the end of the third quarter, we had approximately 589 million of cash equivalents, and investments on our balance sheet, and we raised an additional 300 million in gross. One of our primary motivators, since we are a health insurer, is that we put aside capital for regulated subsidiaries, our insurance companies. Part of that, especially in a year, there's one where medical expenses are abnormally high, driven by the pandemic, we have to put aside dollars to cover those costs. And importantly, we have to make certain assumptions about next year. Something we have spent a lot of time thinking about last few months is that if the pandemic does not subside as much or as quickly as we hope it will, and say there's another wave, costs rise again, we don't want to be caught flat-footed. It's worth noting that this new variant has already had an impact both in terms of rising cases and a market pullback. We want to have enough capital in that downside case scenario so that we can continue to pursue aggressive growth and execute thoughtfully. It's a lot harder to be aggressive in growing the business and executing on your mission when you have to be reactive to less cash being available. They also mentioned down here as well that they don't want to do it. There's a window of opportunity. We're building for the long term, and further, a lot of factors. Let's see here. Where does it say here? Yeah. So they also mentioned about next year, right? We don't want to wait until next year to raise capital because we thought it was too risky, given the possibility of a combination of potentially rising interest rates, potential recession, contraction of investor liquidity, and leading to a flight from technology-driven growth companies, which in turn would likely depress stock prices for rapidly growing technology companies. So again, there's things that very well could happen, and I put this in a little bit easier way to view it through this little chart here or whatnot. And as I was saying with my speculations, none of these white ones were it. It turns out the capital requirements for Medicare, yes, capital for regulated subsidiaries are insurance companies. Don't want to burn through the current cash reserves. In a way, we got this new variance impact and potential impact next year, have enough capital in that downside. But of course, they spoke about not doing it next year because it would be too risky compared to just getting it over with. Right now, rising interest rate, recessions, contraction of investor liquidity. So overall, I'm really, really happy, and I agree, and I have confidence in Andrew and Vivek over this, right? I believe that there were correct decisions being made. I think that it's good to have that cash on hand. There's a lot of other things that are positive that are coming out of it. And also, just having that much money in your back pocket is really useful, especially if nothing bad happens. Hopefully, these other variants turn into nothing burgers. So hopefully that does not happen overall. And so, or hopefully that doesn't have as big as an impact overall, and they just have more cash on hand. So overall, I'm really excited. I'm really excited about what they're going to do, especially with that extra cash if they don't need it, and see where we're going to go over the next couple of days, weeks, and months for the stock, the new partnerships that they have as well. And so we will see that because we know that recently, as I mentioned in my last video right here, that they announced a partnership with Cricket Health. If you did not see that, make sure to check out that video as well. So overall, really, really good to see that. If you want, I'm going to put this AMA in the description down below. I'm also going to put this S1 form registration statement down below as well. But I gotta talk about the price movements. I gotta talk about the order flow and things like that, and where we are kind of looking over the last couple of months, weeks, and days. So let's talk about the price movement, the short interest, all that information real quick. But first, of course, if you want 5 free stocks valued up to $8,300, make sure to check out the link in the description below. All about Webull. Definitely open up a Webull account if you haven't already. It is great to use. Great extended hours from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern there as well. So make sure to check out that link in the description below. So let's take a look, of course, at this long term, this daily chart here about Clover Health stock. Okay. So we can see right here that, of course, we have the all-time highs back in June of $28.85 there. And then we have the all-time lows only a couple days ago at $3.76. As you can see, we're barely going a little bit above that oversold territory there with the RSI. Currently, it's at 30.67. So one can say that we are at a pretty good buying opportunity. If you believe that that is a very good indicator, then one could say we are kind of at the area where if you're going to accumulate, now would be the best time to jump in, especially, if you haven't held Clover Health, and this is the first video that you've seen about Clover Health, welcome. We welcome you with open arms. And hey, this is a great stock, and I have high conviction and have a lot of shares in this company, and I hope that you will as well. And so overall, again, we're kind of at this period, kind of in a big dip, hopefully going to get out here, hopefully going to make it above that $5 price there and get out of this penny stock range, because it has been a wild, crazy past couple, like basically a month we've been dealing with this and trying to get out of this situation. But today though, gives you a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, because we had a pretty strong green day today. We had a 5.28% increase. Hallelujah. 5.28% increase for the day, reaching up to intraday high of $4.30. That was after the intraday low of $3.81. $3.81, that is very, very close. Let's go back to that daily. That is very close to all-time lows of $3.76. I thought that, hey, maybe there's a chance at the very beginning, but I think that there's a lot of other stocks like Clover Health. AMC had a pretty good day as well, that really had a pretty strong day overall, okay? And so a 5.28% increase is pretty good. Again, we're about 81 cents. We're about 81 cents to getting over that 5. I really, really want to see it. We basically, throughout the day, stayed above that volume-weighted average price there, and we had about 15.59 million volume, with the average, usually being about 16. That's pretty dang close. Now, if you take a look at the order flow, sometimes this seems a little bit weird. 1.24 more outflow than inflow for large-scale orders for the order flow. So again, are people saying, hey, I made my money, I'm done, 5% is really good for the day? Or do you think we have a lot more coming? I think that hopefully we have a lot more good movement coming over the next couple of days and weeks and everything like that. So hopefully we see that starting back on Monday. So overall, really good. Again, this is Webull. Make sure to check out the link in the description to open up an account. I use it all the time to track how stocks are doing, and gives you a lot of great information, got a lot of great trading tools and everything like that as well. So overall, really good news to see. And let's go into the short interest percentage of the free float. And if you like this video so far, please smash that like button. It really does help. Also, subscribe and ring the bell so you can get notifications on my upcoming videos. And I will be talking about more stocks in the future. If you made it this far, I think that I'll be expanding and talking about more stocks, just as I was doing back in May and June and July. And maybe I could find, more stocks that are moving more crazily than this stock as well in the short term, while we wait for Clover Health to gain a lot more steam and momentum consistently going forward. I think that's going to happen very soon. But hey, you know what? Might as well have a little bit of fun while waiting and hodling your shares as well, with that extra bit of cash that you have, right? So here we go. We have the short interest percentage of the free float for Clover Health sitting at 8.21%. Cost of our average, not too high. It's 1.44%. Again, not too much there, right there. Utilization, 47.14. Again, I remember when we saw it back in the 90s and the 80s and stuff like that. Now it's just 47.14%. Days to cover, 2.69 days. And so we'll see what happens. I don't think that a short squeeze or anything like that is really possible for Clover Health stock within the next couple of weeks or days or anything like that. But I think that next year we could see some pretty dang big movements. Of course, I like to talk about, the community as well, and the memes that we have. Hodlers be like, basically that, right? Basically, this last couple of weeks we're like, oh my God, where is this going to stop? Where is this going to stop? There's a lot of uncertainty. We had this offer and we have this quiet period, but now it is over. We can move forward. I hope and I pray that we are not going to have another dilution. I don't know how much more money do you need, but I think that over $800 billion is good enough, and hopefully they don't have to use that at all going forward So of course, make sure to make sure to check out the subreddit as well. And as always, hope you have a happy trading day on Monday. You lucky people. Take care. Bye-bye.